beautiful people, it's your girl back at it again. Happy New Year! This is the first video of 22 and I hope you're all doing great. And for those of you who are still putting their head in trying to get into nursing school, I got you today. Today we are going to be talking about how to write a motivational letter or a Bewerbungsschreiben or Bewerbungsanschreiben, Motivationsschreiben. All these things, how you write them in relation to your application to get into nursing school, and especially in Germany. So that being the topic, I would also like to offer A1 to C1 books of German, like if you're trying to learn German as a foreign language. I have said this in other videos, but make sure you also comment down on the comment section below and let me know which book you need. I am going to be replying with a link that takes you to my Telegram channel where you can download A1 to C1 books to let you practice your German at home, or maybe even teach yourself at home however you want to. So if you need any book, drop it down on the comment section below. I'll drop you a link. We meet on Telegram. So if you've done this before, don't you worry, I'm still coming back to your comment. I'm still coming back to you, and I am going to make sure you get the book that I promised to give. So that aside, why are we going to be talking about writing this letter? So I have told you multiple things about nursing school. I'm personally in nursing school. I say that because every time I have new subscribers and so I am in nursing school in Germany, and I think I can tell you how to write a motivational letter because I have written quite a few. Secondly is I don't even know if it's secondly anymore, but I think let's just go right into the video. So there are 3 questions or 4 that I would like to answer using this video. Number 1, what's a motivational letter? Number 2, what comes inside this letter? Number 3, what's the purpose of this letter and how does it affect your application process? I'm also going to be showing you a practical example of this letter, so just in case you're very confused on what structure you should approach, just make sure this video has got you. Well, I actually do. I got you, boo. So let's go ahead and start. What's a motivational letter? Or what's a Bewerbungsschreiben? A Bewerbungsschreiben is a letter that lets your employer or whoever you're applying to know why exactly you want to do this at their institution and why exactly you think you deserve it. So it's a very sensitive thing. You're supposed to really balance how you talk about yourself as well as how you talk about the company. But we'll get into that in the course of this video. And the thing is, there's a very thin line in Germany between motivational letter and Bewerbungsletter. So if you're confused, just write one. Either of them will work out. So let's just hop into writing it. So what are you writing? At this point, there are questions you're supposed to be asking yourself. So when you sit and you're trying to apply to a certain institution for them to offer you the opportunity to do nursing school in their institution, what do you think that person wants to hear from you? I think they want to hear your introduction. I think they want to know you for who you are at that point. They want to know what you've done prior to this application, what you're doing currently, and what your motivation is, and how important is it to you to get to this particular institution. They want to know how much value do you bring to their institution by them training you. I know that sounds a little bit complicated, but let's just jump right into the letter and then we get to clear most of the questions that we have. So 1, how long is the letter? Bro, do not write anything beyond 1 page. I don't know what you're even writing. Like, don't write anything beyond 1 page. If you have enough content and you feel like it's extremely relevant, then go ahead and do it. As I said, I stand to be corrected. If I say anything here that you think it's not right, go ahead and do what you think is absolutely right and deepen your research as well. So it shouldn't go beyond 1 page. Secondly, it's an extremely formal letter. There's nothing like hi or I don't know what. It's an extremely formal letter. There's no in between it. This just keep it very formal. Number 3, yes, it does have 2 addresses, your own and their own address. Number 3, you can use Calibri or Times New Roman. You should check about Times New Roman. I'm not really sure, but a feeding file Calibri will be okay with a font of number 12 or 11. 12, 11 is absolutely fine, and a spacing of 1 or 1.15, you know, but it should just look very, very presentable, very, very simple. The font should be black, unless you really know how to play with colors that just don't look very far from formal. But like I said, the letter is formal. So now that we have all that aside, what goes into the letter? So I have an example of a letter here that I wrote when I was applying for nursing school. I have over time adjusted these letters I have written for so many people, but this is a sample that we're going to be using today. So what goes into this letter? When you're starting it, if assume me, I'm the paper, so on the right, on the left, then if you assume I'm the paper, on the left comes your first address. The first address that you write on this piece of paper is your own. So you write there, Ann Mwangi, this in this street, this in this postal code, and this city. In the case that you're applying from a different country that's not Germany, make sure you also mention your state and your country. So your address is done. The next thing you have to do, on the other side, just below this, your previous address, write their own address. If you're not sure of this, please go online and find the exact address. Maybe you can even find someone you can address your letter to. So if you have someone to address your letter to, make sure you write their name, and then you write the company, and then you go ahead and write the, I don't know, the postal code and the city and everything. But make sure you have two addresses, one that's your own and the next one that's not your own. So at this point, the next thing that comes right after the first address, the second address, on the side where you wrote your initial address, you write the date, but extremely on the side, not on the normal side where you'd actually start typing from, but on the other side. So you write there, for example, I don't know what date is it today, 13th of January 2021, and then you write just that. So you make sure your letter has a date. And then you skip another part, and the next thing that comes there is a topic. In German, the topic is called Betreff. So you can write BE and colon, and then the topic, which is, for example, Motivationschreiben zur Pflegeausbildung, or Bewerbungsschreiben zur keine Ahnung, like Pflegefachfrau, Ausbildung, I don't know. But you write a topic that's suitable to whatever you're applying for. And in this topic, it should be bold. So once you wrote BE and you write a colon, and then you write this sentence that is introducing what this letter is about, make sure you make it all to be bold. It has to be bold. Now, assuming you don't want to write this BE, you can also leave it out and just write the topic, Motivationsschreiben zur Pflegeausbildung, just that. But make sure it is bold. So after this, you put a full stop, and then after that, now comes the signing in or the salute. So you say, if you know whom you're addressing this letter to, make sure you write sehr geehrte dash and dash. Like, for example, sehr geehrte Herr Müller, geehrter Herr Müller, sorry, sehr geehrter Herr Müller. Now, if you don't know, write sehr geehrte Damen und Herren. This salute or this signing in is followed by a comma, and the sentence that starts after this sentence starts with a small letter. Why? Because you ended the previous sentence with a comma. So you've signed in sehr geehrte Damen und Herren, assuming you don't know whom you're addressing this letter to. So you sign in, and this one is not in bold, okay? It starts with a capital letter, ends with a comma, but it's not in bold. The next sentence, now you start to talk about the letter in itself. So that was all to formalities. Now, what you want to do is to have a nice opening sentence. Like, you can just, I mean, you can always start, mein Name ist, or like, hiermit möchte ich mich für das und das und das bewerben. But find a fine sentence. For me, like, my choice here was, Menschen zu helfen war mir immer ein persönliches Anliegen. Like, I always wanted to help people, and that's why I'm applying for this style. So you can find a fine sentence to start with, but if you don't have time to find it, just go ahead and write, I hereby am applying for this and this and this position at your institution. But that's very basic, but you can also leave it. I'm just extra, you know, find a fine sentence, you know, just no? So you've signed in and you started with a small letter, okay? Because the previous one ended with a comma. You started with a small letter and you've written in what you're doing, like you've called the attention to yourself. The next thing is to introduce yourself. So you start off by your name, your age, where you're from, what you're doing, and you know, this part is where you introduce yourself. So you say things that you think are relevant to someone who would be interviewing you. Assume this is actually a literal interview. So if they are doing certain things like asking you what's your name, what do you do, and everything, find just a simple way to address all these questions in just one simple sentence. I personally don't have a certain example here because the letter I have in my hand, the last one I wrote it to someone who actually really knew me, and I didn't really have to introduce myself that deeply. For me, it was enough to just write my name. So you go in and say something like, this and this and this has always been my inspiration, and full stop. Like, no, you like full stop, and this has always been my inspiration, full stop. And then now you introduce yourself. So you're like, my name is Ann Mwangi. I am from Kenya. I'm currently a student at this and that, and I will be applying for this position. So you've introduced yourself with your name, your age, where you're from, and everything. Just one sentence. They shouldn't be very long sentences, but if you can't avoid it, then you know, that's just it. So the first paragraph, you've had an opening sentence, you've started your motivational letter, and you've introduced yourself. The second part is why. Like, why do you want this particular course? So you can go ahead here and talk about why exactly you want to join nursing school. You can say, maybe I'm inspired and motivated to be helpful, to help people in the society. I've always wanted to work in a medical area, and I never knew which one exactly, so I thought nursing is it. Don't write things like that. I'm just telling you how you're supposed to be saying, like, this is the reason why I wanted to do this. If you want, you can fall into some personal sentence and say, I took care of my mom, like, when she was sick for a long time and everything, and this inspired me to want to do this for the rest of my life, make situations easier for people when they're facing very, very hard times, and this is why I'm pushed and motivated to do this certain course. So at this point, push in your whole motivation. Like, don't overdo, but make sure you say things that actually sound credible, first of all, and secondly, that are not too much and they're also not too little. Like, yeah, for me here, I had Germany is one of the countries that has the highest population of people who are old, and old people also require competent care. Like, sorry, this is just German, I'm translating it as fast as I can in my head, and I say this certain course is going to help me become an expert in the caring in their Pflege, you know, and it will also improve my medical knowledge as well as my normal knowledge, like Naturwissenschaft. I don't know how to translate this thing, but you're talking about how exactly you're motivated exactly to do this course. Like, why? The question is, why are you motivated to do this course? So once you've said why you like this course exactly, the next part is to talk about why this particular institution. So for example, you're applying maybe at the Medizinische Hochschule Hannover. That's one of the best hospitals in Hanover. It's probably, I think, the biggest. And you're going to say positive things about this hospital. You don't want to say they have reviews of 3.2. No, don't do that. Don't do that. You want to say, like, I like that you have a, for example, Supramaximal Versorgungssystem, like you're responsible for the most difficult cases in Hanover, or you know, like, just beautiful things about this institution. Don't praise them, just give them reasons why you like them. It's not like you're good, you're perfect, no, it's the perfection that you have shown with the kind of services you provide is what attracted me to this company. You know, that type of relationship is what you're trying to say at this point when you're writing why exactly this institution. Draw the line. Like, it's not really you guys this, it's this, your kind, like, your how you are is what's attracting to me, is what's attracting me. Okay, so that's what you write on that line. And the last line So you leave that paragraph eventually where you've talked. So you've had the first paragraph where you've introduced yourself, you've had the second one where you've written why you want to do this certain course, you've had the third one where you've written why exactly you want to do it at this particular institution, and you have the fourth one where you write maybe something touching. You know, for me, I have here, I know the course is going to be difficult and it poses a certain challenge to me and to my personal life. As you know, maybe you work in shifts or anything, you don't have a lot of time and everything. But you say also, but the motivation, but this type of challenges will improve me as a person, will help me work better with teams, will also make me, you know, better at multitasking, and will increase my time management skills. You know, just fall into some type of emotional thing and then end it correctly. So once you've ended it at this point, the last sentence is where you say you're happy and you're looking forward to a positive reply from them. And ja, so mine ends with über eine Einladung zum Vorstellungsgespräch freue ich mich sehr. Like, I am looking forward to an invitation to an interview with you. Like, I would be happy to have an interview with you, or, you know, like just something very, very sleek, but just one sentence and then you get out of it. Like, once you've written all that, the next thing you have to do is to sign out. Now, careful. You say mit freundlichen Grüßen with an N at the end. You don't say mit freundliche Grüße. You say mit freundlichen Grüßen, okay? And then you leave a small space for your signature. You have to sign it as well. And then you sign out with your full name, like Mary Ann Mwangi. Wow. Now, that was an extremely long talk. It's a huge marathon in my mouth, but I hope this video was able to help you to write a motivational letter, and I hope you're able to push your application further. And please sit and put thought to everything that you write. Put yourself in the position of the interviewer. Ask yourself, would this be relevant to me if I was the interviewer? And I wish you all the very best as you process your application process, and I hope to see you soon. And I wish you a happy new year. And yeah, I guess this is the end of the video. So bye. Subscribe to the channel. Bye.